as we keep the show going. Very happy to be joined with the man who's this is actually his first radio interview ever. So I'm happy to be the first to interview this Phoenix kid. Is joining me right now. What's going on, man?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing real good, real good. Thank you so much for being on. Truly appreciate it.
Definitely, definitely. I appreciate the opportunity.
So before I get into the first question and everything, I read on your Facebook profile, are you actually from Alaska?
I'm not, but in Alaska, so yeah, you're getting the.
Ah, okay. So what is the time there as of right now? What made you decide to become a wrestler?
Oh man, pretty much the only thing I've ever wanted to do since probably about age 4. So it was a no-brainer. The first opportunity I got to train, I went for it.
Was there anyone in particular, whether it's in the Indies or whether it's in the pros, that inspired you, that convinced you that you wanted to become a wrestler?
There's a couple of people over time. Obviously my first influence being Shawn Michaels. I think that's everybody in the '90s first influence for the most part. Um, as I got older, like Chris Benoit, different guys in Japan like the Great Muta, Jushin Liger. So I mean, there's a lot of influences that made me like, this is what I want to do.
So, for those who never had a chance to see you wrestle before, how would you best describe your
My style would, I don't have a style per se. I just call it straight insanity. It's basically me using my body as a weapon, being a pretty small guy, small wherever I go. I use my body in whatever I can, crossbody, using any part of my elbows, everything I can think.
mm, I like that style actually. I guess for me, I like a variety of styles throughout the years. I mean, one minute I'd be into the power, then I've been into the technical, and then I've been into the high flying and the hybrid type of wrestlers. I guess
Right, right.
that's become more of a trend in today's wrestling. People tend to focus more than just one style. They want to show that they're not one-dimensional, things like that. And I guess that's what makes it nowadays a bit more unique than what it used to, is that people want to do
Right.
more things than what they are used to. One of your hashtags, and I see you post this a lot. Hashtag set the tone, and that's definitely a very deep hashtag to have. Definitely as a competitor, when you go up against somebody, you want to prove to be the best. And, for any athlete, you want to set the tone. What does that hashtag in particular mean to you, a performer?
For me, it's pretty simple. I mean, when I say set the tone, that's what I do. I go in the ring, and from the instant that I walk out there, it's going to be something crazy. You don't know what you're going to get, but you know you're going to get something interesting, and that's always my goal, to make it interesting. I may not necessarily come out with the win, but I'm going to make sure you remember who I am, and you're going to want to see me again, and that's what matters. That the fans want to see me again, and they want their local promoters to bring me back, and that's what I go into. Of course, you always want to win, but sometimes you don't always come out with the win.
That is true. It's definitely that's making that good impression. That that's gonna make fans convince promoters and bookers, hey, I like what I saw from Phoenix Kid, and I want to see more of him often. Especially if you're an indie guy, 'cause I guess I don't know how it's like in Alaska, but I guess there's not that many opportunities for people out there. So when you go out there and you perform and you do events, fans and promoters that keep bringing you back, that's saying something. That's saying that they have faith in you. They like what they see out of you. they keep bringing you back, and you can help elevate the company to new heights and things like that. Um, so so for you, what do you consider your favorite part of being a wrestler? One thing that you enjoyed the most? Is it the competition? Is it the fan interaction? Is it traveling? Is it hanging out with your peers in the locker room? Like, what is the one thing that you enjoyed the most of being a wrestler?
I have to being able to get in the ring and get physical and be involved in the matches and make people react and feel something. I feel like if I go out there and nobody reacts and they just look at me like, who is this? What's going on? I haven't done my job. But if I can make one person be like, that Phoenix kid, he's something else. He's crazy, or he's good, or I didn't like him, or whatever the case may be, because not everybody's gonna like what you do. But as long as they feel something about you, and they're not like, oh, Phoenix kid, I don't really remember that guy, you know. So I mean, as long as I make people feel something, that's my favorite part of it.
So, for 2016, what do you consider your biggest highlight of the year that stands out to you the most? It could be a match that you had, a rivalry that you had, anything that's out to you. What do you consider the big moment for you last year?
There's two big moments for me. Is actually getting to make my in-ring debut after training for at that point before I made my debut about a year and a half. So actually getting to make the debut, that was a huge moment for me. And another big actually getting to go out of state for the first time and wrestle in Washington for Combat Pro Wrestling. That was a huge moment for me because they gave me a huge opportunity to wrestle a very popular named Chris Edwards in the Pacific Northwest, and I think we put on a good show, and I think that pardon the pun, but I set the tone for them to bring me back. Actually, going back out there this weekend.
That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. Um, I've been very fortunate getting a chance to interview a lot of good people throughout the years. One in particular is Ronnie McCole, and you mentioned her on Facebook about how much she's meant to you, helped you out and everything. Um,
Mm.
and about to go to Japan soon, from my understanding, if she's not in Japan already. Very proud
He's
of her.
already he's already there.
So, I mean, talk about what she's meant to you, um, being a fellow wrestler, trying to make a name for herself, and like just, cause I feel like a lot of people tend to say that wrestlers, yes, it's competitive, you want to be the best and everything, but at the same time, it's sisterhood, all it's like wrestling is like one big fraternity. Yes, you bump heads, not see eye to eye on things, but you all have one common goal, and that's to entertain the fans. So what has a fellow wrestler like Wani has meant to you as a fellow wrestler yourself?
I look at her as far as in the wrestling business. I look at her like a big sister. She is someone I can always contact and be like, can you check this match out for me and see something with fresh eyes? I mean, your peers that you're around constantly may see something, and it's like, all right, maybe you see it this way, but let me get a pair of fresh eyes. And she's always willing to help. She's always been someone I can contact and just ask questions, and she'll fill me with information that I haven't been able to get necessarily from different places. Not saying that there's not other people like that in my career, because there's many people I can name off, but her in particular is one that stands out.
So I see you got some shows coming up. We getting a little over the midpoint of the year. So why don't you go ahead, promote your shows, let people
All right.
know where can they check you out.
All right. This weekend, I'll be heading out to Washington. I'll actually be leaving tomorrow morning. Friday we have WWF in Port Orchard, Washington. It's a benefit show. If you guys want to come check that out, I'll definitely be in action against a guy named Just Exciting. He's another good competitor, and I'm really looking forward to that. Me and him have a little Facebook feud going back and forth. We're going to go out there and finally get to tear it up. Then the next day in Seattle, I'll be wrestling for Combat Pro Wrestling in a good tag match with a good set of luchadors out there, Sonico, Bat Boy, and I'll be teaming up with Guerrero de Neon. So this should be a real interesting match. I've never been involved with the lucha world, so that should be something definitely to check out. And for anyone who's in Alaska, NSA Wrestling on February 19th, I'll be facing Brody Adams in a rematch from a couple months ago. So that should be a pretty interesting deal.
Man, wow, Alaska to Washington, that's got a flight there, man. You know, considering how
that's
far.
Not that bad of a flight.
How long is the flight from Alaska to Washington?
Actually, it's only about, I'd say, the weather's pretty solid, maybe 4 hours tops.
Not that bad at all. That's not that bad at all.
No.
So, now you mentioned about, watching videos of your matches or whatever. How often do you watch your matches on video, whether it's YouTube or any other video site, and critique your matches? Do you, because I feel like I talk to wrestlers about this, and they always seem to be their biggest critic, like no one in the performers themselves. Like how do you analyze watching the videos of yourself, seeing what you did right, seeing what you could improve on?
The way I do it, and it's probably not necessarily the best way, but it works for me. Usually what I'll do the first time I watch it, see what I did right. Try to pick out some cool things I did, pick out things my opponent did, things that worked. Then I'll watch it again, see what I did wrong. All right, now that I've watched it for entertainment, now I can sit down and really be like, all right, my footwork was off, or something wasn't right, or this didn't click, or this didn't click. And I'll watch my matches and to the point where I can't watch them anymore.
I definitely respect that for sure. There are times when I do my radio show and I don't even bother to listen to myself because I don't know, it can be a little odd to me, but every now and then you listen to you go to your previous work just to see what you done right and see what you can improve on. And I mean, it's one thing for fans to boo and say, oh, you did this move wrong, but unless you've been between those ropes and go, so people don't quite understand how things actually work. You're not gonna get things right the first time, but as long as you learn from it and get it right next time, then that's all you can do. You can't please everybody, as the saying goes.
Definitely, and that's so true. Especially with the character that I run with currently. Some people get down with the things I wear and the way I carry myself in the ring. Some people are not about it, and they're just like, I don't like this. I don't get it. I would do this, and I would do this. So I'm like, well, I see what you're saying, but at the same time, I mean, you're not out there doing it, so you don't see everything that necessarily goes into it. But, I mean, I appreciate your input, and I appreciate what you're saying, so, and I do take those things into consideration, but at the end of the day, you gotta, where's that fine line you draw between doing what's right for you and doing what's right to appease maybe one or two people?
Very, very true, very true. So, what are some goals that you want to set for yourself in 2017? Like, what are some of the goals that you see yourself wanting to do this year?
This year, March will make my second year in the ring, so I'm hoping to really just get more opportunities to go anywhere. I'm I'm pretty easy to read Facebook. I go on that thing pretty much because I'm always looking for these opportunities just to travel, just to see more people and get the opportunities to wrestle in front of more people and learn. That's one of the goals. Another big goal of mine is to there's a few promotions that I'm definitely looking to in particularly try to get into, one being 321 Battle in Washington. Um, Amazing place. That venue I really want to get into. Other than that, like any other wrestler, I want to have a title reign at some point in some promotion. Just want to be able to wrestle more, see what I can bring out in the second year.
So if you can have a dream match, and it could be against any opponent, any pro, dead or alive, who would your opponent be?
Oof, that is a hard one. That's a rough one. Oof. You put me on the spot there. If I had to pick one person off the top of my head, it would be the Japanese wrestler Hayabusa.
Okay, I'm definitely familiar with that name. And I love me some Japan wrestling, like especially like the crowd interaction, or they more well behaved. They just
Yeah,
they,
definitely.
they look at it as a theater. Definitely look at it as a form, and they will cheer for some of the fascinating moves, but and I mean it's just feels like going to Japan is a lot of wrestlers' dreams. Something that they want to do, to be a part of that, to get to know what it's like to be there. Just to be part of the atmosphere, because Japan, they take pride of their professional wrestling out there, and it's a good thing that a lot of wrestlers, Shinsuke Nakamura, comes to America, has been able to succeed the way that he does, and Kota Ibushi and the statement he made at the Cruiserweight Classic,
Right.
and Asuka as well for the ladies, still undefeated, and she's making grounds for herself as well. But it's I love wrestling. It's great. It's awesome. It's fascinating, and it definitely has me intrigued, for sure. So Phoenix Kid, what would your advice be to anyone out there that wants to become a wrestler? What would your advice be as far as how they can get started?
Find a good school. That's my first advice. Find a good school. Find a good trainer. Do your research, and don't think about it. Just do it. Because the more you think about it, the more you're gonna be like, maybe I won't make it. Maybe I'll succeed. Just do it. I mean, that's at the end of the day. Just do it. And that's for anything. Just go for it. You're not gonna know until you just get in there and find out if you can hang or not.
That's very true. And, hesitation could definitely lead into making that decision, and you're going to regret it. You never know until you go out there and do it. If you succeed, keep going. If you don't, find something else.
Right.
You know, a lot of great athletes didn't start off great. They have to literally work for the bottom and work their way up. And
Right.
so Catch gonna be in Washington this weekend, and he's getting more shows to come. You can keep in track with him on Facebook. He also has a Facebook fan page, Kid. Facebook.com/Phoenix KIDCFR. You can type Phoenix Kid with one, not one, yeah, actually one D. I use KIDD, but it's one kid, one D to the kid in your last name. So, but it was great chatting with you. Yeah.
It's weird. Just throw it out there. If you're looking for the fan page, it's 1D. If you're looking for the Facebook page to contact me, it's 2Ds. Facebook is weird like that, so I have to make sure to clarify that.
Yeah, Facebook, the Facebook name police is what I like to call them because there's athletes and quote unquote entertainers and try to have you check out, show your driver license or whatever.
Right, right,
It's
exactly.
like so for Twitter it's okay you can use whatever name you want. It's whatever name you want, but for Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, Mr. Billionaire seems to have problem with some folks, but I
Right,
think the whole name thing should be the least of it. But
right. I agree.
I want to thank you, Phoenix Kid, for being on the show. I think I've interviewed wrestlers all over the United States, and so that pretty much makes you the first Alaska-based wrestler I've had on. So that's pretty
Nope,
cool.
nope.
So continued success, and thanks again for your
Thank,
time. Wish you the best, man.
thank you, thank you.